All right, let's get to it. D4. Playing Dennis Le Voyager with a fun little boat. All right. Trying to play some Nimzo possibilities. Probably goes D5. Yep. God, what do I want to play against Queen's Gambit? I don't even remember. God, it's been so long. Did I play something else besides Knight C3? I think I played Knight C3. All right. Let's see if we can have some good practical chess today. So Bishop G5 feels kind of lame. Trading everything off after this move, although it's probably fine, as with most things. Bishop F4 is usually a decent alternative. Um, God, I think this move is a little bit more attacking, whatever that means. Who knows? Okay, so black gets a really cramped setup. Again, most likely looking for C5. Castles Bishop D3. No problems. D5, bishop takes. Again, they might think that they caused me to lose the tempo, but they lost a central pawn here. So I didn't just lose the tempo. You know, like I had to make the extra tempo, but they gave up their control in the center. If C5 here, C5 here, I think I just castle, whatever. Black is a really cramped position. I'm not trying to help them out with DC5. I don't know anything else plausible right now. I mean, I guess maybe B6. That seems really lame. These kind of moves, you can't usually knock them out immediately. They're just usually positionally bad. I think just castles here. Continue on with productive things. Trying to be practical, not going to overthink it, not going to look for a knockout blow when there are no real tactical issues going on. Let's call it. Drinking some coffee today. Please excuse the slurping and such if you hear any. I hope it's not too bad. Say, God, yeah, I mean, B6 and C5, probably about it. I mean, how do I want to complete? Yeah, okay, so B6. I suppose I want to connect my rooks with Queen E7, just with the idea that Bishop E7 can be met with still defending my knight. My knight doesn't become awkward. Maybe I'm supporting an E4 push. I think that seems plausible. I don't see anything terribly wrong with that. Is there anything else worth considering? I mean, I want to connect my rooks. That seems fine. In case of any, just there, I'm just making sure that I've got possibilities for my bishop in case he becomes a little bit um, out of sorts. I think A3, B4 idea is to try to shut down this guy. What are they trying to push me back here? I could just do this. Is that really such a big deal? I don't ultimately want my bishop here, I don't think. I think maybe just something stereotypical like rook AC1. Rook AC1, although maybe they're threatening these two tempi, in which case maybe A3 is possible. I don't really care so much about this move because I just have this, but this is starting to get a little annoying, maybe. Although B4 here, here, but then I start trying to undouble these guys. Yeah, I don't think I like that. I do have possibilities here now. In case sometimes I want to sacrifice here, maybe. This does have the possibility. Does have the possibility of. Why did they play A6? That is such a waste of a tempo. Okay, so I could play for E4. E4, looking to play E5. Is that what I'm looking to do? I could also play H3, just giving my bishop space in the case of knight H5. Yeah, because they're really cramped. I really don't want to give them options to trade off this cramped space. I'm not a fan of these kind of moves in general, but positionally, it makes sense. We're not in any huge hurry here. E4 also gives my bishop space, though, it must be said. And E4 is more attacking. I think I might like E4 a little bit better than H3. H3 gives Luft. I mean, they're probably both fine. Yeah, let's do it like this. Try to be a little bit more active. Again, H3 there was probably fine. It's not a win or lose the game move. Here, I want to get my rooks in the middle coming up. Rooks where, though? I want a rook on D1. Which one? I don't know. I probably want to have rooks on E1 and D1, maybe. Just imagining lines where we break here. Maybe there's an exchange. Maybe we get an attack on the bishop. Yeah, D1, C1. There's not a whole lot going on the C file as of right now, whereas more action seems to be going on the D file. If C5 here, maybe I just play D5 and just let them hang out on C5. C5, E5 possible? E5 is possible, but I mean, black can also just play like rook C8. Seems to be totally normal. I mean, the thing about having a rook on C1 though is that It is a half-open file. No, it's just not clear where we're gonna break here. This doesn't work. I've got two guys attacking it. Alright. So against this one, do I want to reinforce? I don't know, this bishop is so menacing on this diagonal. I feel like just going back here is gonna just clog up the center. But maybe we have these ideas? No. Knight comes here, that's annoying. I guess we could go here. Just try to be menacing on the diagonal. Again, it probably does not matter. Yeah, let's do this. Probably doesn't matter big time from a positional or from an evaluation perspective. Do I have any major tactical liabilities at this point? Not really. My king is good. Loose pieces, not really. Alright. Gosh, do I want rooks on... What do they have? 4 things attacking d5. And I have 3 things defending it if I push d5. God, which rook do we want to have on d1? I don't know, I still have this inclination that I want to have rooks on e1 and d1. So I think rook a d1. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just pushing for d5 here. They have 4 things protecting and I have 4 things attacking. If I push d5, I have 4 things defending. I would like to have rook fe1 in order to bolster the possible attack against e7. It's not absolutely necessary. Yeah, I mean, you have to play the pathetic looking c7, c6 to kind of shut down my d5 attempts. What is this? What are they trying to do? This has got to be way too slow. Are they trying to do something like bishop a8, c5, rook d7, d5? Is it go? 1, 2, 3, 4. They got 5 on d5. How did I miss that? Yeah, maybe I want to stack up. I don't know how did I miss that? Rook to d2, rook f to d1, maybe? Just get a rook battery? It can't be any slower of a plan than what they have. Do I have any other plans? Yeah, let's go for it. I like this idea. God, what if they have to play this, and then this? 3 moves? Whereas I go here, and then I'm ready to go? I don't see how that works. Eventually, I just want to keep it in the back of my head. H3 maybe at some point, just to get some lift. Lift. God. What do we have? God. I mean, c5, d5. c5, d5? c5, d5. No, c5, d5. What? Seriously? That was your plan. Okay. That's a plan. It loses a pawn. Bishop c7. They start taking. There's a bishop a6. Bishop takes c7. They can't take on e4 because I'm attacking b6. Yeah, I think this was a blunder. Bishop takes c7. Bishop takes c7. Bishop takes c7. Even if bishop takes e4, putting an attack on my c7 bishop, I could take on b6. They play rook b7. I play knight takes e4. Yeah, that doesn't work. Bishop takes c7, bishop takes e4, bishop takes b6. Bishop, rook b7. Rook b7, knight takes e4, knight takes e4, queen takes e4, and that queen takes e4. Maybe knight takes e, or maybe bishop c5 at that point. Okay, so the line is this, 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 this. Take a knight, or take a bishop with the knight. Maybe knight takes that one. With here, here, and then eventually this. Seems plausible. We gotta get going for time's sake. Doesn't this just lose pawn? I mean, also just the bishop. It was defending this, but they take here, this is losing an exchange. This could get wild. So I'm envisioning like maybe takes here, here, and then I could just be attacking this guy. Such that if they now take me, take them, they take me. That's no good. I think here, and then if here, here. So maybe I just got a knight. No. No. All right. Getting sloppy, getting sloppy. Hmm. Knight takes, queen takes. Rook takes this one. That looks pretty dangerous. Oh, what a tactical mess. I'm trying to save time, but I probably need to be spending more time just to make sure I've got this right. Takes here. That's still better for me. Takes here. I have two minor pieces. And if they take this one, then I just go here. Alright. So now I force some kingside weakness. Yeah, that is super. Okay, they just resign. I mean, they had a something, I think, with F4. Yeah, they just messed up tactically. Alright, I'm curious if, let's switch over to the analysis board. I'm going to run a computer analysis, and let's look at this. Please excuse the disorienting. Oh man, looks like I played a decent game there. Let's see what this says. Alright, I think we can keep it all in the box here. So one inaccuracy, one mistake. And let's see what we've got there. Opponent, 3 inaccuracies, 1 blunder. Okay. Curious to see how this went. Alright, let's go, whoops. Let's go up here. Back to the beginning. Let's see what we can learn from this game. D4, C4, E6. Yes, I like playing this. It's totally fine to play against the Nimzo. I just don't. I think black has good play there. It's just something I've chosen to not learn at this point. Although, according to the Masters database, what is the differential here? 7? Yeah, I guess white does better slightly in the Masters games with a differential of 9. Okay. Alright, so knight c3, knight c3 most common, g3, yeah. What is this like? I think this is, sorry, I am not, in case it's not obvious, I am not an openings person. I don't really think it's terribly important at our level. I think this is like gonna get into some Catalan style structure or whatever. I hear this is really theory intensive for whites. Probably totally fine, probably pretty cool, but not terribly interested in all the theory stuff that hinges off of this bishop being off this diagonal. You got to recover the pawn. I don't know how all that goes. Bishop e7. All right, so bishop g5 most common, bishop f4 second most common. I'm curious in the Lichess database, how do people, they go bishop g5, bishop f4, and bishop f4 is slightly better. So people, black is probably just more used to seeing, and it doesn't really matter. I'd say black is more used to seeing bishop g5, but yeah, this is not something that matters terribly much, the difference there. Bishop, people say this is more attacking. I don't know why. I assume it's because after this, you just get a lot of trades coming in here, and maybe the positions aren't that interesting. I think in the Queen's Gambit, black can often become space restricted, and I think that happened in this game. And it becomes tough to play. So just from a practical perspective, I think bishop f4 might be a little bit more of a practical move because it keeps pieces on the board and lets black potentially get themselves into having space and coordination issues. Like comes out of this kind of structure, which I'm sure is fine, but generally we want our knight here, or our pawn here, our knight here. And this just becomes cramped. You have to do these sort of artificial, not really artificial, but it just takes more moves to get developed this way. All right, so e3. Yeah, so e3 most common. Castles, bishop d3. Oh, they play c5. I keep forgetting about this move, c5, just stopping this stuff, and also just getting some space, stopping this, and stopping c5. I've got to start remembering this kind of idea, because even as we saw in the game, like people will say, oh well, black caused white to lose a tempo. Well, black also lost the central pawn, so it's not just white lost the tempo. However, that being said, this is a really strong move. I'm a big fan of this type of move. It just puts a lot of space. Black oftentimes in these kind of pawn structures wants to break out with c5. It totally puts that away. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to remember this idea more readily. Okay, so we had this h6. Yeah, so nobody's playing h6, at least at the master's level. Computer's probably like, it's fine, it's slightly inferior. Well, computer, yeah, so this is slightly inferior, but this is still playable in a rapid game for club players. But yeah, as in general, like the way to try to capitalize on this, I think a lot of times, kind of amateurish, not amateurish, amateurish, as in amateur chess players, as opposed to professionals, they'll see a move like this and they're like, yeah, this is too slow. I gotta punish it. And then they look around and they try to find some checkmate in 3 or something, and it's just not like that. The refutation is to play smart chess. Like this is a positional mistake because black needs to develop. their pieces. They need to play c5. This is not on the cards right now. It's not necessary. So the way you do it, or the way you refute it, is not by finding the checkmate in 3, or finding the wowing combination which wins pieces. You just play sensible chess. Okay, so it doesn't like b6. So as we saw in the game, it wants to play a6, and I presume b5, just knocking this back. As we saw in the game, they played b6, they played a6, and eventually they played b5. So there's some wasted pawn moves in there. Again, as is so common at the club chess player level, the sort of level I'm at, the sort of level people watching this video are at, there's a lack of sense of, you can't just waste time. Time is super important. I've heard it referred to that a pawn is worth 3 moves. So if you can somehow get ahead of your opponent in terms of development by 3 moves, you've like won a pawn, or you have a pawn level advantage, roughly speaking. So like you just can't waste this kind of time. All right, so let's see, we've got b6. All right, what is this thing here, queen e7? I'm sure it's fine with queen e7 or queen e2. So it wants to play knight b5 and just attack here, I guess. Okay, that's fine. e4, just getting the center. e4, bishop b7, it doesn't care probably. Yeah. So it wants to just go ahead with this. I'm always a little unsure in these kind of structures when to push forward or when to just keep the center, because when you do this, you give them this square. And do I want to trade pieces? Again, practically speaking, with this space advantage, my inclination would be to do this, but for some reason, well, yeah, it's just going to take the bishop for free, so I've got to take that. And yeah, I mean, we end up trading all these pieces, and now I've got this backward pawn. Sure, I've got this strong central pawn here, but this is backward and weak. It's just not terribly appealing. And look at all this. Well, I mean, this is fine, because my backward pawn is now blocked. But if they do this, then we just go back. Yeah, I mean, I guess always they end up with a pawn here. So maybe it's not so bad. My backward pawn is not immediately exploitable, even if they play c5. This pawn here is well defended. I can defend it again. Okay. All right. So queen e2. Queen e2 was fine. I mean, it was, according to the computer, not the greatest. You can go on the attack against c7. What if here, yeah, just here, you're just going to win a bishop. Okay, and an exchange. Yeah, so this is no good. You can't play c5. c5 is just losing. Very cool. Very cool. Just losing. Interesting. Okay, so what does black play in response then? You got to keep the pawn on c5 or c7, and then we just take it? Ah, okay. There's just no way to defend. There's no way to defend the pawn. Black has no way to defend this pawn. Yeah, I was had the blinders on about gotta get my development, but you gotta remember this bishop. Black has no way to defend the pawn, because even if, like, this kind of stuff, again, the same motif. Yeah, very cool. Whoops. Very cool. Yeah, what a cool little tactical idea. Can't get those blinders on. Those positional ideas. Yeah, white just wins a pawn here. After knight b5. Does black have any other tries? Knight b5 here. Ah, this is an interesting try. What is this? Just taking this still. And then we're defending the loose piece. And eventually this too. Because if takes, you gotta have something defending that. Okay. Alright, let's see what, yeah. What is this? Like, and again, look at the computer evaluation here. This is not a good move. Like, this cannot be a good move, but the computer's like, just, slight inaccuracy. It's because it's a positional blunder, and positional blunders don't generally change the evaluation as much as tactical blunders. So, again, when we see these mistakes, I think I have a tendency to be like, how can I punish this immediately? And that's just not how it works. So we want to play e4 here. So I got too worried about this b5 idea. Just play in the center. Just play e4. Yeah, so this was not the greatest, not awful. Again, e4. Okay, so I finally played it. Should have played it here. It's a move late. Okay. Okay, so it does like going back here. Yeah, and again, I think I said this in the game. Either way is fine. I just didn't like clogging up potential files for my rooks. This bishop is oftentimes in a lot of lines really strong here. So, okay, and then I was always trying to play for d5. Does it like rook ace? It likes rook ace c1. Yeah, any of these rook moves are fine. This has the advantage of just looking down there. Okay. Yeah. The one rook move that it doesn't like though is putting a rook here. I was just seeing an attack on e7, but I guess the claim is that the potential benefits for that are not so obvious, whereas the benefit of having your rook on a half open file is more obvious. Okay. I can believe that idea. Alright, yeah, and then I saw this and I just didn't understand this move. Well, okay, yeah, so they're trying to play this cute queen a7 and just attack here. Yeah, this is an example of just trying too hard. If you have a plan which involves, like, bring your queen to a7, and that plan involves you doing something really just goofy looking like this goofy looking move is all the refutation you need of this plan. Now, if this rook wasn't here, of course, bringing your queen here and attacking this, that's fine. But in this position, black has the rook here. So that just becomes a bad plan because I have to play rook a7. That is just not good. Okay, and it doesn't like rook a1. Or sorry, rook d1 to d2. It just likes defending. Yeah, I was falling in love with this idea. Too much because I want to play here. Whoops. I want to stack my rooks. Play d5. I was not understanding during the game that they wanted to do this. But yeah, if you see that, then you can just shut it off. With that, and you have the possibility of this idea, or putting the queen here, forming this battery, forcing some kind of kingside weakness, and you can just continue to play against that. That's cool. Yeah, this is a motif oftentimes when your bishop comes back here, it sometimes can redeploy itself, and you can get a bishop-queen battery oriented the right way along this diagonal towards the black king. Okay, so slightly inaccurate. What do I think about that? Bishop b1, rook d3. It just doesn't like rook d2. I guess rook d3 is maybe better because you have some attacking ideas on the king side in some variations. And maybe it also defends the knight in some variations. So like if here, and somehow if this ever happens, like, I don't have to play this, although this is not the worst thing in the world. Probably the bigger idea is just that the rook can come over here and attack on the king side, explaining why rook d3 is to be preferred to rook d2. I can go with that argument. Knight e5. Knight e5 in this position. What do you think about that? That's just having a good knight in the center. Which, hey, nothing wrong with that. Okay, so maybe setting up an attack. Again, rook d3. Maybe rook g3. Looking to play this. Okay, that's plausible. That's a plausible attacking structure. So knight e5. Okay, so that's how I can make of this sense of this, like where the computer's like knight e5 is also pretty good. So knight e5, rook d3, rook g3 with bishop takes h6 threats. Plus my knight looks excellent. If I need to reinforce d5, you can always bring this guy over. But yeah, this idea, I think, is the one I want to try to remember. That's a hard one to see, though, in the game. After you see this goofy move, to be like, yeah, let's just slowly redeploy our bishop. It is cool, though. Especially if I see this is coming and I have these ideas. That is so often getting the bishop-queen battery on that diagonal and forcing a kingside weakening is oftentimes a huge strategic victory. So I think I was staying over here a lot. Or I was just focusing on this idea of let's stay here because potential sacrifices after d5. But again, maybe I fell in love with this plan a little bit too much. Again, we get these pawns in the center. Oftentimes we amateurs are just itching to push them and not wanting to have them sit here. This is a way to not push them and just to let them sit. You can go with that. Okay, so rook d2. And it does not like bishop takes. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Just knight e5 still. Or even d5. d5, man. Even though black, well, I guess, yeah, black has 4 attackers, and now I have 4. Ah, I forgot that takes an attacker off of d5. Yes. d5 is totally a thing, and now here it wants to take this pawn. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I guess because you got this. Of course, you can't take because I just take the knight. Oh man. Wow, the computer is nuts. So takes is by far the best. You can also play e5. Wow. This one? Takes, takes. Bam. Okay, black currently has an no, it has an extra pawn, yeah. But white is totally winning because white's pieces are fantastic. White's pieces are fantastic. And that positional dynamic strength gives white plus 2.5 because the evaluation is plus 1.3. Black has the extra pawn, so by default it should be -1 for black, but not -1, but add 2.3 to that, it's plus 1.3. That's the value of attacking pieces put together with this pawn potentially being strong. Potentially. It's not intuitive though. Because I mean, you go here, here, and then this is just blocked. It's here. Maybe some kind of sacrifices. Potentially. Yeah, but still, I love this. This is so instructive. These pieces are so much better than what black has going on. It's like plus 2.5 in favor of white. That's like the quantifying of it. That's really instructive. So yeah, it doesn't like this. It doesn't like this. That is shocking. Shocking. I didn't, yeah, blinders on. I just saw this. I didn't really evaluate anything else. And most notably, I didn't evaluate this. You don't have to play these crazy lines. Like E5 is really hard to see. But you can still do this. Because of the attack here. They can't take this. Wow. Very interesting. So bishop takes, definitely a mistake. Yeah, when it gets tactical, things get sloppy, man. And now? Just wants to save. Doesn't like, well, it's fine with that, I guess. So there's your big mistake. It wants to take this. What is the idea? Okay, so they have to see this. They have to see that I got two things hanging. And because of that, it's going to be even. Okay, I got an extra pawn, but there's my extra pawn. Pick which one you want. That's not terribly great. Yeah, black should have growing chances here. In a practical game, it might be hard, but black should have growing chances. Yeah, we get sloppy in these tactical situations in these rapid games, man. Only move. White has to find this. White has to see that simplifying to the end game and being down a pawn is totally defendable. Everything else is just losing to really losing for black. So this is the second best. Just giving up the exchange. Wow, yeah, that's tough. And you make your decision find, or you make your opponent find only moves, it becomes really tough. Okay. And this is all gonna fall into place. Yeah, they could also just trade queens here, I guess. But as a defense, they don't have to do this. But still, this is super winning for white. Okay. Yeah, so not a lot to say, just not a whole lot else to say, I guess I should say. So my opponent was wasting a lot of time with these moves. They got behind in development, and they had a real disadvantage as far as space went. They started flailing, coming up with dubious plans, and then when the tactical situation came about, I was not precise, which is not good. But thankfully, and this is not terribly imprecise. This loses 1 point of evaluation, which is not great. But yeah, I should have considered this after they move here. It loses 1 point of evaluation, but it's not anywhere near what this error is. Yeah, that's an interesting game right there. Alright, yeah, so I put my opponent in